Today, we're diving into something that I know hits close to home for a lot of people. Maybe it hits close to home for you. Let me just say the words taken for granted. Oof, right? Maybe you felt that way in your marriage, like you're doing everything yourself and no one even sees it. But here's the twist a lot of the time, your mate feels the exact same way. So, how is it possible for both of you to feel unappreciated and still completely miss each other? Well, that's what we're going to talk about today. Because the way a man feels unappreciated is not the same way a woman does. And once you see the difference, the whole dynamic starts to make more sense. Hello, I'm Dr. Debi, and I've been helping men, women, and couples grow together for more than 25 years. Now it's your turn to learn what I learned and taught as a couples counselor and university professor. This is your personal development podcast packed with instant encouragement and practical tips. This is a safe place where women are valued and men are respected. We talk about biology, socialization, behavior, emotions, communication, and connection because men and women are different. Always have been, always will be, and that's a very good thing. Let's start with him. When he feels taken for granted, it usually hits him right in the middle of his masculine identity and purpose. Most men are wired to show love by doing, by actions, by working hard, solving problems, making sure the people they love are taken care of. So when he's out there fixing the fence or working late to pay the bills or taking care of that weird noise under the sink, it's not just a to-do list for him. It's his way of saying, I love you. I've got you. And when those things go unnoticed, or worse, when he feels like he's still being criticized for not doing enough, that hurts. It really gets to him because what he hears is, you're not doing a good job, you're failing. And nobody likes to feel like they're failing. I can't tell you how many times I've heard a man say, I'm doing everything I can, but it's never enough. Or, she doesn't even notice how hard I'm working. She doesn't know what I go through every day. And after a while, he shuts down. Not because he doesn't care, but because in his mind, he's already lost. And he reasons, why keep trying to please her when nothing seems to be good enough? Let me tell you about Jake and Emily. Jake was working 60 hours a week trying to give his family the life he thought they wanted. But Emily didn't feel connected to him. She felt like he was never there. So she'd say things like, you're always gone. I'm doing this all by myself. But Jake, he was doing it all for his family. How could she not know that? He felt like no matter what he did, it would never be good enough to meet his wife's expectations. So he withdrew. He stopped engaging, stopped asking questions, stopped initiating. Not because he didn't love her, but because he felt like he was already failing and he didn't know how to fix it. Now let's talk about her. When a woman feels taken for granted, it's not just about the tasks she does in a given day. It's about her emotional labor. Even if she works outside the home, she's the one who's keeping the family life going. She's the one remembering dentist appointments, packing kids' lunches, staying up late to fold laundry, and thinking ahead to next week's schedule before this one's even halfway through. She's also the one thinking about everyone's emotional well-being. Is her toddler melting down? Is her child doing well in school? What about the friends her teen is hanging out with? Is her husband taking care of his health? Who needs what and when? Now she's carrying all of that in her head and in her heart, constantly. And when he doesn't notice, when he doesn't say thank you or you're doing so much, she starts to feel invisible, like she doesn't matter. I've had women say to me, I feel like a maid, not a wife. No one even notices what I do until I stop doing it. Or it's like I'm holding everything together with chewing gum and duct tape, and he doesn't see or appreciate me for it. And what happens then? Her sadness turns into resentment. Not because she doesn't love him, because she feels completely alone in everything. Well, let's go back to Emily. While Jake was working long hours, she was at home juggling 2 kids, a job, and a house that never stayed clean. She was drowning in a never ending list of chores that needed to be done yesterday. She would say things like, "Why do I have to do everything?" What she really meant was, "Can't you see me? Can't you tell I'm overwhelmed?" But Jake didn't hear that. He heard criticism, and that made him shut down even more. This is where things get tricky. They've entered a negative pattern because both of them feel unappreciated. But the way they express it and the way they interpret each other's pain often makes things worse instead of better. She gets louder, he gets quieter. She reaches out, he pulls away. Not because neither of them care, but because they don't understand what the other person needs to feel loved and appreciated. And that, my friend, is how good couples get stuck in painful patterns. So, how do you change the pattern? Well, let's start with some simple things because big change often starts small. For her, reconnecting with him might look like this. Step 1, notice and say something. For instance, "Thank you for mowing the lawn." Or, "I appreciate how hard you work for us." Even if it's something he should do, say it anyway. He needs to know what he does matters to you. Step 2, give him space when he's quiet. It's not rejection. He's not shutting you out. He might just be trying to process what he's feeling, and that takes time. For him, reconnecting with her might look like this. Step 1, see the load she's carrying. Then you could say, "Hey, I noticed you stayed up late with the laundry again. Thank you. You do so much around here, and I don't say it enough." Now, that kind of appreciation, it makes her feel seen. That's huge. Step 2, be present when she talks. Turn off the TV. Put your phone down. Look at her. You don't have to fix it. You just have to be there, fully present in the moment. Now, none of these steps are magic, but they do shift the energy between you. They open up space for connection where there used to be frustration. At the end of the day, feeling taken for granted is really about feeling unseen. But when you stop and really look at each other and acknowledge what you each bring to the table, well, that's where healing begins. So maybe tonight, just pause, say thank you for something you usually overlook, or offer a little grace to the person who's been carrying a quiet burden you didn't even realize. You're both doing more than you know. You're both longing to feel loved and appreciated in a way that makes sense to you. And the more you understand each other, the easier it will be to find your way back to connection. Thanks for listening today. If this episode spoke to your heart, would you share it with someone who might need it too? And as always, you can find more resources at awisewomensguide.com. Until next time, take a deep breath, look for the good, and embrace the possibilities. What did you think? Did the information raise more questions? Do you want to learn more? Head over to A Wise Woman's Guide for show notes and links to the resources mentioned in this episode at awisewomensguide.com.